correct?
3. What's up, man?
I know that this show is what keeps your life in line. You want to know why?
Let's hear it.
Because your Rudy Poo ass has been going out there on social media making fun of people that wear hey dudes.
Is that why I've been boycotted? That's why
You have been boycotted because you're making fun of hey dudes. How dare you?
So the funny thing is, I did not ever make fun of hey dudes.
I'm so glad that you brought that up because the direct quote is, and I'm just quoting here, hey dudes are dumb.
That's not what it said. That's not what it said. The joke was, and it's not even a joke, it's just an observation. In the South, you will see someone in a full tuxedo with hey dudes.
That's just in Arkansas.
No, it's everywhere.
Why does the Arkansas fan base think they're going 10-2, by the way?
I tell me who that person is.
They're all in our mentions. KJ Jefferson Blake.
KJ can play. I do not like their
bull.
roster. You don't think
they don't have the dudes, Carter.
No, I agree.
Do not have the dudes. That's the bottom line.
I will tell you this, okay? When you look at their roster, they did do a good job in the portal. They lost a lot of players, but a lot of those guys weren't really good. And they have gotten some good guys from LSU out of the portal. They've gotten some other good players as well. Their schedule is a lot easier than what it was last year, but I am not in love with that team. I'm just not. I think KJ will will them through some wins, but I think this is another 6-6, 7-5 year for them. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I think they're 7-5, 8-4. By the way, you've been covering LSU athletics since 2010. Is that correct? 2009?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Outside of take everything Burrow related out. Okay. Is Dylan Cruz in the top of the ninth hitting a 2 RBI double in your last game at home to send you to the College World Series? Is that not the biggest moment?
Not bigger than Angel Reese and this, right? But I will say the biggest moment on, let's say, like Baton Rouge soil with him being who he is.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
I didn't mean like. Yeah, but I probably should have refrained the question better. But because as soon as I asked it, I was like, "Well, Angel Reese," but at home,
yes,
like I'm thinking about Burrow doing the.
Yeah, obviously,
like the Burrow thing. Name a time in Alex or I mean, to me, it's up there with Jaden Daniels' corner route throw to Mason Taylor and the earthquake happening. Carter, it's just such a massive deal, dude.
Yeah, it's big.
The number 1 overall pick, potentially, in his last at bat, sends you to confirms and sends you to Omaha.
What's really interesting about that whole weekend, Blake, from a media perspective, is it was such a magical, dominant weekend that it completely erased all the chaos that was surrounding some of the decisions that Jay Johnson made over the weekend. And that lets you know how good.
Well, Jay didn't make those decisions.
Well, not his. I'm not just talking about the delay. I'm talking about Skeens throwing versus Tulane and so on and so on and so on.
Oh, so you do like baseball?
Oh, I mean, look, I have nothing.
So full of it. You say you hate baseball, but you love it.
Look, played AAU baseball, quote unquote, played AAU baseball. I like it. It's fine. It's not my favorite thing. I don't watch every game though. Like,
man, I'm in it.
I know not to call you
midweek against a raunchy ass opponent drinking some ranch water,
dude. The funny thing is, I do not like ranch water.
I don't see when you say ranch water. I thought it was actually like it tasted like ranch, and then I tried one last week.
What'd you think?
It's a beer. It's just a Texas light beer. I mean, it's not anything Special middle lights the goat. All right, Carter. We'll get to some baseball. Back to baseball in just a minute.
Let's do it.
The last time. So let me preface this by saying this. Potentially, if Brian Kelly can lock the state down by getting guys like Wardell Mack and Dominic McKinley to commit, and Billy Ott and Young. Carter, the last time that something like this has happened, you remember when that year was, right?
Remind me.
2001 Saban.
Right.
So you mean to tell me that potentially Brian Kelly is going to do something that Ed Orgeron and Les Miles couldn't do themselves?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And look, it goes back to what you said and I said last year. Everybody crapped on BK for not locking down the state of Louisiana when those kids were never going to LSU. A lot of them, and a lot of you know who those kids were.
I mean, let's call them who they were. The DB that went to Texas, the QB that went to Bama. I mean, Arch Manning.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were never coming here.
Never. Yeah. And look, Brian Kelly's done a really good job locking down this state. 2025 is going to be really good as well for LSU. So, look, this class has a lot of defensive talent in the state of Louisiana. I watch a lot of Billy Ott today. And
who can play, can he?
Yeah, he's really good. And what was interesting is it goes. I was thinking of Malik Neighbors. They're not really similar players, but Billy Ott's 7-on-7 footage is so much fun to watch.
I know.
And what was crazy was Malik Neighbors, his 7-on-7 footage was
also
way better.
Equally as crazy.
Right. It was way like his 7-on-7 stuff was like, okay, this is awesome. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. Well, it's 7-on-7. It's not actual football. But the one thing about 7-on-7 that is like actual football is if you're running a go and it's a 50-50 ball, that's like a game situation. It's just you versus a DB, and Billy Ott wins a lot.
Every one of those reps.
Yeah, he wins a lot, and
Carter,
that's what's
you
really
had
impressive.
The entire coaching staff walk up to him, and then Cortez offered him.
It's crazy. That was a great photo.
It was a great photo. It was a great photo. So Joel Rogers committed yesterday, which is another, what you were just mentioning, another defensive talent. Then you got Andre Evans that's committing on the 16th that we'll all be watching out for as well. Here's my thing, Carter, with Brian Kelly is did he answer the one real question we had about him?
About the recruiting?
Well, I mean, name another thing that he does at a bad level.
None of it.
Okay, so let me ask this, and this might be a deeper question. If he's dominating in recruiting, like at LSU, what does that say about Notre Dame?
It wasn't what everyone thought it was. And you see Jack Swarbrick retiring. Some of that, it might be realignment stuff. And look.
Oh, dude, they're going to the Big Ten or ACC.
Yeah, and he probably didn't want that. He's very all about the old guard, right? But yeah, a lot of it with Brian Kelly is, look, I think people get the BK can't recruit question wrong, right? They say, well, he can't recruit. Well, let's just say he couldn't, right? Part of the reason why he went to LSU is it is easier to recruit the state of Louisiana if you are LSU because, well, you're LSU. And that's why Brian Kelly did it. And what's very interesting is there are a lot of things that he is really good at that the previous coaches weren't really good at. And one of those things is actually being between the headsets on Saturdays and on Sunday versus Florida State here in a few months. So obviously really excited about what LSU's doing in recruiting. And the next question, Blake, now that you've locked down the state of Louisiana.
Well, not yet. Not yet. He's got two. If he gets – look, I don't really care about the receivers other than Billy Ott. I think you get him and Young, the kid from Holy Cross.
Yeah,
I think those kids are coming. If you get Wardell Mack and if you get Dominic McKinley, I don't – look, there's two things happening with LSU football right now, especially with Brian Kelly. Number one, things are going unnoticed because women's college basketball, they took over.
Yeah.
Right. Like for a month. And then they go into the portal. They get Van Lith. They get Morrow. They're just dominating. They get the number one player in recruiting from a high school level. So then Jay Johnson's team turns around in year 2, and now they're in Omaha. Meanwhile, and I know that they're technically ranked like number 7 in the country in recruiting, but Carter, I'm looking at what you're doing in state, and you're 2, maybe 3 recruits inside the state away from not even going outside the state fully yet, like offensive line, Marcus Maskell, Colin Simmons. What if he commits to LSU? I get to a point where, Carter, that I can't believe I'm about to say this, but just the notoriety is kind of going unnoticed, right? Like LSU football, to some extent, has gone a little bit unnoticed, and Brian Kelly loves that. Convince me that I'm wrong, or tell me that I'm wrong, because they're not making, Carter, they are not in any headline. Ed Orgeron, every week, even in the season going in, the preseason going into 19, we would come on this show. He was in there every single week.
Yeah, the last few regimes, there was more of these chaotic stories, and this program has been buttoned up. That's obviously a very good thing. You've only heard positive things thus far. So obviously that's really good. And like you said, Colin Simmons, what if Cam Coleman commits, a wide receiver that I like a lot, who will be visiting. So yeah, I mean, it's
Braylon Miller.
Yeah, Draylon Miller. Absolutely. And look, I'll say this, moving forward, now that the recruiting looks to be fine, we're going to get really excited about next year because this roster is going to be very good.
All right, let's go there.
And
Carter, we're in June. We're halfway through June, buddy. Like,
it's crazy.
Like absolutely next, crazy. Like in 2 weeks, we start applying for our credentials and stuff.
We are 1 month away from SEC Media Days. So I'll say this, and
jeez, dude,
it's crazy. It's catching up. But
could you imagine if LSU won it all in baseball and you had 2 weeks to get ready for football?
It'd be wild.
People wouldn't care about media days. They'd be gearing up for, like they'd be still on that high. And you know what, Carter? Let me ask you this. Do you think momentum plays a big part in this? Like, and here's another question that I have too. A two-parter. Does Jay Johnson going to Omaha put serious I don't want to say I don't know how to really word it other than serious pressure on BK?
It does, but I think Brian Kelly was under the most pressure out of any of the coaches because of this. He is a big historian on the game of football, and he's won more games than anybody at Notre Dame. He's one of the most successful college coaches, College Football Hall of Fame, so on and so on. He's won all these awards, but he knows to be remembered for, eternity, really, you got to win the Natty. And if Jay Johnson gets it done, I think he's going to. I just feel really good about this team.
Dude, there's stuff about life when, like, if Kim Mulkey won it and Jay Johnson won it, I'd bet $1,000 LSU football did. Like, there's weird things like that, dude. There's weird things like that, man.
Put it down. Year 2 magic, baby. Now, look, what's very interesting
Poor
is,
man.
I know. But look, John Morant still has eligibility left. Bring him back. Why not?
John Morant might be out of the league forever.
That's what's crazy.
Which is so stupid because you know that in the state of Tennessee, you can have a gun in your car.
It's wild. It's wild.
Is it wilder than Zion?
I don't know. I'm
going to tell you something. Having a gun in your car and doing this with a gun is not crazier than Mariah Mills.
Mariah.
I seriously had to look her up. I mean, that might be the biggest ass I've ever seen in my life.
Thicker than cold peanut butter, baby. I'm telling you. That's it. Yeah. Look,
Hey,
you're
she's
just
what now? She's
now.
what?
Now here's the thing. All right,
I'm sending this to your wife. She's sticking in
you
peanut
should
butter.
you should. Okay.
Is it crunchy?
Oh God, you don't want that. You don't want that. Oh man.
All
Uh,
right.
I
Anyway,
want no. But I do have to say this about the thicker than cold peanut butter line. I used to do stand up. That is not my line. That is Dion Cole's line. One of the best to ever do it. Very underrated comedian. He's not like super huge, but he's really good. That is it's that special was so good. I forgot the name of the special. It's so good. Stand up mastery. But yeah, thicker than cold peanut butter. But what's interesting is the Pelicans might go for Scoot, but I know that's not this
yeah, I don't want to go there.
yeah.
Trade Zion. I could care less. So let's get on the field very quickly, and then we'll circle back to some baseball.
Yeah, let's do it.
Carter, what's changed? Anything in my absence? Anything that you noticed? You know what the one thing I've noticed? Do you know what the
I'm
one
ready.
thing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I think offensive line wise, you're going to be the best in the SEC. Name a better one.
I say Georgia. They get Rutledge back. They get Van Pran back. They should be.
Yeah,
good.
but attack. But see, here's the problem with that. The problem with that is, yeah, they get Van Pran back and they get their right guard back, right? Okay, so they return some of their pieces in the interior.
Yeah,
I don't know what they have at tackle.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I do think.
And here's another question. Here's another thing that we're not. What if Lance Hurd starts at right tackle and has the same kind of impact that those freshmen had, and Emory Jones gets to be able to kick back at right guard? You're going to tell me that those O-lines can't compete? Because I'm going to tell you, if anything is truth in what I'm hearing about what that young man's doing in the weight. Uh-oh.
What happened?
I have no idea. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
My screen just went blank. Anyway, what that young man's doing in the weight room, then my God, my screen went completely blank. I was like, oh my God, our lights went out.
Wait, that's Mariah trying to.
Yeah, you big booty hoe.
Yeah, she's mad at me.
All I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. I mean, it is Father's Day.
That is true. Somebody hook him up. No, but anyway, I'll tell you this.
I think, look, I don't think people understand what I think. If Mason Lunsford can do half of what I think he is, you're going to be really damn good.
Yeah, we know he can run block. We know that for sure. But
Dellinger ain't got a spot, buddy. Deli ain't got a spot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the odd man out. I do
too.
What I will tell you, and that doesn't mean he can't. That's actually a good thing. You want good backups that can play. One thing I will say, Blake, is it is interesting. So, Circuit Sportsbook in Las Vegas is the most respected, and their line has moved up to LSU as a 3-point favorite. So that line floated around 1.5, and
which really in a neutral site game means 6.
Well, especially one in Orlando, right? Like it's interesting that the line movement is gone.
Well, you remember that LSU was a 3.5-point favorite
last year versus Florida State. Yeah, so that was very interesting, and Circuit is one of the best books. It's my favorite. But yeah, LSU 3-point favorites. I know we got 1,000 years until that game, but like you said, it'll be here before you know it. So obviously that's going to be very key for LSU. Like you said, the offensive line is going to be really good, and having Jaden back there makes it that much easier, especially in the zone read, RPO stuff that LSU was very good with last year. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this team actually hit the field.
Here's my thing as we get starting to get closer. There are 3 main things that I want to see. Number 1, what do you look like in the back end? And number 2, I think I got to see more depth along the defensive line, because I think everywhere else, I think at running back, you got enough depth. I don't think you need John Emery. I think you have enough talent at tight end. We saw that last year. They've only gotten better there. I think that the talent in the room, if you can limit the drops at wide receiver, you're better by subtraction. Carter, here's the crazy thing. You were 30th or 32nd in pass yards allowed in the country last year. You were 80th in sacks. Okay. You gave up a lot of rushing yards. Where this defensive line was good, they have depth, but they're gonna have to be big. Sheed, Lee, all of them.
Yeah. Look,
Reed.
Yeah, no, I mean the A&M and Georgia games were so bad
Not
on
clap.
and it wasn't just, physicality. It wasn't just, I do agree with Brian Kelly that they were dangerously thin and they did wear down. And playing 2 games away from Tiger Stadium, I've shared this stat plenty of times. It's really hard to get on a plane and then the next week get on a plane, right? It's hard, especially when you play a lot of snaps. But schematically, all the way down to the actual play, they just weren't the same unit. It was shocking to see, especially the A&M game, but the Georgia game as well. So obviously Matt House, he's really hungry to get out versus Florida State, and getting off the field on third down is what destroyed LSU last year. And on the opposite,
We gotta win a week 1 game.
yeah, and that's another thing as well. Like the one thing that just drives me crazy, and I hope this is discussed at SEC Media Days, is I do think people underestimate how difficult it is to come out in week 1 and play a really good team. It's so hard. It is so hard. You really have no idea. Like LSU's best roster, half of the players that started in that game versus Florida State were not the guys that ended up being your best guys.
AKA Harold Perkins.
Right. And the offensive line wasn't what it needed to be. The pass rush wasn't what it needed to be. And so on and so on and so on. Special teams, that was such a bad LSU team compared to where they were as the season moved on. What you saw versus Florida in the second half of Alabama. Now this team is going to be more locked in and ready to go and have a better identity going into this Florida State game.
Let me ask you this. Is there a team in the SEC not named Georgia that scares you on this schedule?
Oh yeah. I mean, there obviously Ole Miss is going to be solid. There's no other way around it, and that is a road game. That's obviously going to be tough. Also, something else, Blake, that is not being discussed enough is their the back road game. I hate that Missouri game. I hate where it is on the schedule. I'm going to really hate it that ends up being an 11 a.m. game like a lot of Missouri home games are. But one thing that is going to be very interesting and how the CBS schedules work itself out, the LSU versus Auburn game could be an early kickoff. And by early, it could be an 11 a.m. because CBS has a day doubleheader on that week. So they get to pick the 2 SEC games that they want to go at 11 and the next one that they want to go.
What are the games on that day? What other games are on that day?
I'd have to pull it up. I did a video on it. You could see it on Power Hour LSU. I don't remember, but I think CBS is going to pick LSU and Auburn for one of them. Let's hope it's a 2:31 and not the 11 a.m. one. So
CBS has never done an 11 a.m. one though, right?
Yeah, they've never done. That's what shocked me when I started doing research on this. They've never done an 11 a.m.
How are they doing that?
Well, I don't know. I don't. I mean, TV contracts are definitely not my expertise. And this is their last year, so I don't know exactly how that came about.
You know who ain't gonna be doing 11 a.m. games? Primetime games. You know who won't be doing 11 a.m. games against LSU and Auburn?
Who?
ESPN. You know who they'll stick up at 11 a.m.? Vandy and Cornell State. That's who they'll put in there.
Maybe. Here's what I'll say about this.
They're not putting ESPN will not put LSU in. It ain't gonna happen.
Well, they won't put LSU and Alabama there. But what I would say is it is from a neutral vantage point. If I take off my SEC bias and the SEC channel that I do, I have to take off my LSU bias and the LSU bias that I do, and you take off, all your favorite teams and all of that. It is cool to see the Big Ten have a big game at noon, the big noon kickoff. Because, you have game day, you're done, you see Corso put on the headgear. And then, it's kind of like, wow, I go to Fox now because they got the big games, right? So I think when ESPN takes this over, you're going to see more marquee games during that 11 a.m. window. It won't be LSU Alabama, but it could be more LSU 11 a.m. games. And obviously, I know that doesn't excite anyone, and I know a lot of people hate me for saying that, but LSU has been one of the more fortunate teams when it comes to avoiding 11 a.m. kickoffs. Anyway, so there could be more of it. So we'll see.
All right, last one for you. Let's circle back to baseball before I get
Let's
you
do
out of
it.
here. You're a big baseball guy now.
I won't say that. I'm definitely nowhere close to you or my took when it comes to baseball coverage. But I will say, in the last time LSU won it all, I don't know if I ever shared this on here before. I got to go to Omaha for the full 2 weeks. Got to do the radio show and all that stuff I was doing at the time.
What year you said?
2009 when they won it all.
Okay.
It was so much fun. So if anybody out
You
there,
stayed out there the whole 2 weeks?
yeah, it was crazy. That was the funnest thing I've ever done, honestly. And I've gotten to do some really cool things.
What did you learn about Omaha?
What I learned about Omaha,
Uh-huh.
the zoo is incredible. That's
The
the best.
zoo?
The zoo is dope, man.
The zoo.
The zoo is great. Are you kidding me? Anyone here ever been in an Omaha zoo? You don't like a good zoo?
God. So you mean to tell me you have the best baseball games in America on and you went to the zoo?
Blake, there's this thing called free time. Have you ever heard of it before? I mean, do you just want me to sit with a dip in my mouth for the next game? And
hey, don't you dare. You already made fun of hey dudes. Don't make fun of white people.
Hey dudes on.
All right. So what else did you learn about Omaha?
It's awesome. Like I went to the Drover. It was great. Baird's barley corn, the whole thing. I don't know if they still have the volleyball court and all that stuff. It's awesome. If they make it to the championship game and you're just sitting at home like, oh my God, I'm thinking about doing it, go do it. It's great even if you're not, an LSU fan. Omaha's great. And you really get to see how much that city really cares about it. Now,
oh, dude. Hey, did you see the gear, Carter? Did you see the truck?
No.
So some lady, I saw this today. Some lady, so they sell all the team's merchandise that are there, right?
Okay.
Okay, so they got Stanford, they got a cart for Stanford. Okay. They got a cart for TCU. They got a cart for Wake Forest. They got a small little cart for Oral Roberts. They brought in an 18-wheeler for LSU. A whole 18-wheeler for LSU. And the lady said, I literally last year was praying when LSU was playing Southern Miss. She said, in 2017, I made more money in that year than maybe some other years combined because of LSU. How nuts is that?
Yeah, and when I went, they all said the same thing. They were so happy that LSU was there, and man, seeing Chad Jones was definitely the coolest thing. But what I'll say about the current team is, yes, your pitching analysis is spot on, and
you got to go Skeens and Dolander, man. You got to go Skeens and Dolander.
Yeah,
let's see the best against the best, man. I want to see best against best.
I agree. I think you want to go down with your best pitcher. You're arguably
I want to see Tua and Burrow. Like when Tua got hurt, everybody's like, Blake, why aren't you mad? I'm like, because I want him to be at his best. Why wouldn't
let me ask you this, more importantly. What is the proper price for a Jello shot?
Okay, so did you see my tweets today?
Yeah, so I saw you were pretty fired up.
Did you see people saying the Jello shots were $4.50?
That's absurd. These
okay, so listen, this is what I was going to do. This is what I had planned on doing. I was going to call the place, and let's say LSU went on Saturday. I was going to do 100 Jello shots, thinking, okay, they can't be more than $1.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like at worst, they're $2. Okay. And I'm out $200. So I was going to buy the whole bar freaking Jello shots. And maybe I'll just keep doing that, 100 here, 100 there, $4.50. And now I can't even get a proper price because I got some people saying it's $4.50. I got people telling me it's $2. Like, look,
Yeah.
the show will buy 100 LSU fans Jello shots. Okay, like I will call them up right now and already put us on the board. Like, get them ready.
Right. Yeah.
You know, $4.50.
I don't believe that.
There's no way, dude.
I truly don't. Like that's and unless it's like a like a cup, like a full gelatin cup.
Look, Rick, look. Rick says it is $4.50. There's Carter, there's no way.
They're printing money. They are printing
money over a stupid little game. Let me just tell you something. Going into this, I was like, yeah, this is cool. Let's go win the Jello shot competition. For $4.50, I'll punch somebody in the face. I ain't buying 100 for $4.50. It ain't happening.
Well, what you should
do. Happening. I'm just telling you. You know how many Hey Dudes I could buy? Well, $450, I could buy the whole damn collection.
And here's what's really funny about this is that is the best social media marketing I've ever seen.
They're pinning teams against each other. They're pitting fans against each other.
It's not only that, it's the amount of money they spent into this. It's a dry erase board, and their name and just free social media. I don't know.
Think about this. Ole Miss last year bought 18,000 Jello shots.
Okay, let's do some AYS analytics.
At $4.50, that's $81,000. $81,000 in Jello shots.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And how much profit do you think? I mean, it no more than 10K to make those. No more than 10K.
10K
to make 18,000 Jello.
No, that's got to be a net $3.50 profit.
Exactly.
So $3.50, okay, times 18,000, okay, that is $63,000 net profit.
Unbelievable. From one team. That's one team.
That's one team.
One team.
Now let me tell you, you know what's pretty funny?
Let's hear it.
Stanford went to Omaha last year, right?
Okay.
They only bought like 281 of them.
Silicon Valley, man, they know the economics, man. They get it. They didn't understand it. They're by far the richest.
No doubt. Did you see that they got another $1 billion in their endowment?
That, and they won the Directors Cup again with the hardest.
All right, I'm going to throw this out there. That thing's not weighted equally. The Ryder Cup. The Directors Cup. It's not weighted equally because if LSU women's basketball, if women's track, gymnastics, baseball, and football, these things got to be weighted differently. By the way, did you know Notre Dame was up in there because of fencing? Bro, right, brother, I would stab the shit out of somebody at Notre Dame. Fencing?
Dude, fencing.
Like, I would just be sitting there saying, come on, King Arthur. Give me your best shot. Hit me with your best shot.
Fencing is bottom 5 sport. Bottom 5.
Bottom 5, brother. It's bottom 2, and it's not 2.
I mean,
fencing. When's the last time we fought with swords? Like, bro, I get it's cool when you watch Game of Thrones and
exactly.
Khaleesi or whatever her name was, but we don't fence anymore. Just going out there.
I need a deeper investigation of the Jello shot. I will say Barrett's barleycorn has always been the LSU bar, and I don't even know if
they're doing it at some pub now.
Yeah, it could just
some Irish pub.
Yeah. So that's Barrett's was Irish. It could
okay.
be. Yeah. So I don't know. It's been well over a decade. I'm washed up, but yeah, it was great. I mean, that was crazy to actually see them win it all. And I knew Renato and Micah Gibbs fairly well. I was really happy for them. So there you go.
Carter, the Power Bryant. It's good talking to you, buddy, back on this platform. It's also good talking to you about some football and Jello shots. And I'm just going to let you know it's already all over social media. Cold, thicker than cold peanut butter.
Oh yeah, but you have to if that did go viral, tag Dion Cole. I do not claim that. I know how social media it could be.
Well,
And
listen.
I would never steal material. I only said it because it's
he's
fun.
already said it. You can say it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, it's a huge deal.
No, it's not. Here's the thing. No, it's not. You know how many times I say Cat Williams shit all the time? I walk around the house saying Cat Williams stuff. I be doing every day. I'm hustling. You know, like, all right, let me just say this before I get you out of here.
Yeah.
Mariah Mills, baby, you got to calm down. Mariah Mills has got to calm down.
We know your name. Like we get it. You've gotten your
it's not her calling out the trash or the things that he did to her. It's that she's like doing a video of her twerking, like her one booty cheek goes up, the other booty cheek goes up, and she's like, Zion Williamson and his trash D word, he was all over this. And I'm like, baby girl, calm down. I mean, more people have been on your ass than a toilet seat. You know, like she's got a tattoo on her ass that I obviously saw. And you know what she should put there? The New Orleans Pelicans were here, 2023.
All of them.
All of them.
Allegedly. Maybe. I don't know. I will say the 2019 NBA draft class. What a brutal year for them. But yeah, she's got to stop.